News 18 on the CW at 10 starts now. WLFI Lafayette. News from where you live.
Good evening, I'm Vinny Moderano. Maddie DeDario is off tonight. Thanks for joining us. Our top story at 10, findings from the annual Tippecanoe County Child Fatality Review are out today. One main focus is raising awareness about preventable infant deaths in the county. News 18's Marcus Truccio has the story.
Members of state and local agencies gathered this morning for the annual Child Fatality Review. One main point of the review was that a large percentage of child deaths in the county can be attributed to positional asphyxiation. Positional asphyxiation is when someone's position prevents them from breathing. Infants are at particularly high risk from this type of asphyxia when they are sleeping. In Tippecanoe County, there were 8 child fatalities in 2020, 18 in 2021, and 9 in 2022. In 2021 and 2022, 5 and 4 of those deaths were due to positional asphyxiations, respectively. Elise Madigan, a Tippecanoe County attorney who spoke at the review, says even though the situations presented today are worst-case scenarios, they do happen, and parents need to act to prevent these tragedies.
Time and time again, we see the parent who accidentally fell asleep with their children while feeding them, or the parent who one time let the child co-sleep and it was just the one time was all it took. So I think it's very common that we don't expect tragedy to happen in our lives.
Madigan says one way to prevent positional asphyxiation in infants and children is making sure they are sleeping in their own crib, not in bed with adults. Reporting from Lafayette, Marcus Truccio, News 18.
Coming up on News 18 at 11 on CBS, learn more about the review results, including thoughts from Lafayette police on how to identify and help prevent teen gang violence. And today was something I could definitely appreciate when I walked out my door, sunny and warm. Chief Meteorologist Chad Evans joins us now with the first look at the forecast. How are we doing, Chad?
Doing okay, Vinny. Good to be with you tonight. And I've had 2 phone calls on what the 2 bright objects were in the western sky this evening. We've got Venus and Jupiter here, and they've been getting closer over the past several weeks. They start way up here, and then they end up closer and closer as they go towards the horizon. And every week they'd be getting closer and closer as well. So quite a treat. Those 2 bright objects, Venus, Jupiter, western sky, and that's going to be around for a little while. Now, we saw some nice blue skies today, but it's going to turn gray again as the warmth comes northward. Not so tomorrow, but getting into later Thursday and Friday, a lot of gray, rainy, windy weather ahead. But we'll take today 46 to 53 for highs. With the clearing skies tonight, we're not cooling off that much. It's still in the upper 30s to low 40s. The warm front's moving northward. So with the warm front, which shows up well here, as this moves northward, it's going to be much warmer tomorrow. But then we get cooler late in the week with a cold front here and a big storm here that'll bring a lot of rain by Friday. And a lot of gray weather too. But tonight, partly cloudy. Temperatures rising to about 43 by 7 in the morning. But 60s tomorrow. We'll show you numbers that you will really like coming up.
Thanks, Chad. The site of the Norfolk Southern train derailment is the focus of a local research team. The team is back after collecting water samples from creeks and homes in East Palestine, Ohio. Purdue professor Andrew Welton and his students are testing for so-called volatile compounds and heavy metals. It's too soon to know the extent of the contamination. The team returned to West Lafayette around midnight after a 6-hour drive from the site of an ecological disaster. They spent today separating and labeling glass vials that filled 8 coolers. Welton and 3 ecological engineering students are taking on the project. They sampled water from creeks and homes in East Palestine, Ohio, where a Norfolk Southern train derailed and spilled hazardous materials like vinyl chloride. Residents there called for their help when government agencies wouldn't pick up the phone. That's causing distrust to grow in the official response and cleanup. Video from Welton shows an obvious sheen in a creek that runs through the town.
When you see kids playing out at the creeks, or you see people walking their dogs at the creeks, and you know that there's a problem and that people should not be anywhere near that, and officials are not telling people to do that, you realize the value of what you're doing.
Welton says water from this creek and others will eventually make its way to the wells of nearby homes. But until his team arrived, many residents reported trouble getting those wells tested. This team wants to help residents desperately seeking an answer to this question: is my water safe to drink? They tested the wells of several homes and will follow up with the results when they're available. Contaminated waste from the site of that train derailment began moving out again Monday, and some is heading to Indiana. Federal officials say concerns were raised during the weekend about oversight of where it was being shipped. The Environmental Protection Agency also announced that 2 new hazardous waste sites will receive some of the shipments: an incinerator in Grafton, Ohio, and a landfill in Rochdale, Indiana. The EPA now is getting close to having enough certified facilities to take all of the waste from the site of the February 3rd derailment in East Palestine. Officials on Saturday had ordered Norfolk Southern to pause shipments to allow additional oversight measures. Some liquid and solid waste had already been taken to sites in Michigan as well as Texas. IU Health Armet has changed its midwifery program. In a statement today, they said midwives will no longer independently deliver babies. A protest is planned for 1 p.m. tomorrow at the hospital by Indiana Families for Midwifery. In an email to our newsroom, Sarah Gotland writes, "This is a devastating loss to our community." She says patients that are interested in midwifery care model must now drive 1 or more hours to receive it at a hospital or birth center. In their statement, the hospital says patients will continue to have access to highly skilled, personalized parental care at our facilities. Our team of obstetricians stand ready to support all patients as they plan the future of their families. We'll have a crew covering the protest tomorrow. Tune in to News 18 at 5 and 6 on Wednesday to hear from those who are standing against the decision. Autopsy results for the inmate who died at the Howard County Jail over the weekend show he died from a heart-related issue. Howard County Coroner Stephen Seal writes in a news release there was no evidence of foul play found. He calls the manner of death natural. As we've reported, 64-year-old Donald Helton Jr. was found unresponsive around 11:40 a.m. on Sunday. Medics arrived shortly after and performed CPR, but Helton Jr. was pronounced dead around 12:05 p.m. The autopsy happened Monday morning. Sealy writes the case is an ongoing investigation by his office as well as the Howard County Sheriff's Office. The automaker Stellantis is investigating another $155 million at 3 plants in Kokomo to try to help meet an electric vehicle goal. The company is upgrading its Indiana transmission, Kokomo transmission, and Kokomo casting plants. It says the move will retain more than 265 jobs. Stellantis' goal is to have 50% battery electric sales in the U.S. by the year 2030. It'll start producing the first fully electric Ram vehicles this year, with Jeep following next year. Stellantis has more than 7,000 employees in Indiana. It's invested more than $3 billion in the state to support its transition to electric vehicle production.
All right, yeah, February, the 12th warmest since 1879 in our area. So, you know, we've had warmer Februarys, but still the warmest since 2017. And 2017 was the second warmest on record, and one of the very few months since 1879 that hasn't had really measurable snowfall. We'll talk about when we could get snow down the road next.
And now, your Storm Team 18 forecast. Weather from where you live.
There's some clouds tomorrow morning, then a good deal of sunshine for a chunk of the day before we start to cloud up a little bit late. But 61 to 67 for highs overall. 64 Greater Lafayette, getting a little windy tomorrow after low 40s in the morning. 64 from Attica and Williamsport to Frankfort, 62 Flora. We'll get to 62 at Rensselaer and about 67 at Petersburg and Covington. Now on Thursday, mostly cloudy early, then partly cloudy. The winds start to pick up from the northeast. Not a bad day, really, still above normal. The morning low only 39. 47 at Greater Lafayette in the afternoon, and 45 north to near, if not even exceeding 50 in the far southern part of our area. So there's your warm front lifting northward tonight. Note how the winds turn to the southwest tomorrow. We get a period of some nice sunshine for part of the afternoon. And Thursday, a little more in the way of clouds, especially through the morning hours, and a little bit cooler. Notice those winds coming out of the northeast, but then we cloud up Thursday night. Here come a few showers Thursday night, followed by just a solid, steady rain on Friday. This is Friday at 8:30 in the morning. This is just all heavy rain right in this area, very large area of it. The low keeps deepening, so very strong east to northeast winds blowing in. This is closer to noon, and this is a lot of heavy rain with the center of the low down here, and the rain just sits here through the day. This is around 2:30 in the afternoon with the howling east and northeast winds coming in, and then eventually the storm pulls away. The rain may end as a little bit of rain-snow mix briefly Friday night. Otherwise, the rain is the story, but as quickly as it gets cooler, the front goes back north as a warm front, and next week we warm up again, and this storm here will bring rain and storms, and there's much colder air to follow down the road. All right, there's your rainfall expected. Anywhere from 1.25 to more than 2.5, 3 inches of rain expected from the storm. Mainly kind of centered around Friday, and right now it looks like the heaviest amounts would likely be from the Wabash Valley southward right into the southern part of our area. So even this, remember, even this heavy rain that falls in Clinton County goes into the Wildcat. So that'll lead to big rises in the Wildcat, also Sugar Creek, Little Pine Creek, and we'll certainly see an extended period of river flooding occurring generally this upcoming weekend and then right through next week. All right, 44 Friday, all that wind around and rain. Keep in mind, winds may gust more than 40, 45 miles an hour Friday, so just a nasty day. 45 on Sunday, a little warmer Monday and Tuesday. The wind cranks up, more rain, more storms, and then here comes the colder weather, a sign of a longer duration of below to well below normal temperatures as we get further into March.